I need you to stop what you are doing right now. Not because I want your attention. I do not need your attention. I have been studying the ancient architecture of wealth for over 4 decades, and what I am about to share with you has the power to either break the cycle you are living inside of, or, if you choose to ignore it, to lock you inside that cycle for the rest of your days on this earth. I mean that with full solemnity. There is a habit, one single daily habit that the wealthiest families in recorded history have protected like a sealed chamber. A habit so quietly powerful that the financial institutions built their entire machinery on top of it, and then deliberately buried it from the people they serve. The rabbinical academies of Volozhin, of Pressburg, of Mir, they did not teach this in the public halls. They whispered it in the inner rooms, between the master and the student who had proven himself worthy of receiving it. And today, in the next 14 minutes, I am going to give it to you without condition. But first, and I say this because I care about your future more than I care about your approval, I need to tell you the 3 things you are already doing that are making this habit impossible to take root in your life. The third one is the one that will shake you. I have seen grown men and women weep when they understood the third one. I will reveal it at the 10-minute mark, and you will feel it land in your chest like a stone dropped into still water. Are you still here? Good. Then let us begin. My teacher's name was Reb Zevulun Marchetti. He was not a famous man. He did not have a stage or a following or a verified badge beside his name. What he had was a small wooden desk in a room that smelled of cedar and old paper. A desk that had belonged to his grandfather's grandfather, and a mind so precise that it could locate the invisible leak in any man's vessel of abundance within 60 seconds of speaking with him. I came to Reb Marchetti when I was 31 years old. I was not poor in the way that people think of poverty, empty pockets, empty refrigerator. I was poor in the way that is far more dangerous. I had income, I had movement, I had the appearance of progress. But nothing was accumulating. Every time I looked at my life, it was as though I had been filling a jar with water for years, and the jar remained completely dry. I sat across from him at that cedar desk, and I told him everything. The work I was doing, the decisions I was making, the plans I had written out in careful, disciplined detail. He listened without interrupting. When I finished, he was silent for a long time. Then he said to me, in a voice so calm it almost made me angry, "Yedidya, you are a man who works with great intensity inside a broken vessel. All the water you pour in runs out through the cracks beneath you, and you pour faster every year, believing that speed will solve what only sealing can solve." I did not understand him that day. I went home irritated. I thought he was being poetic when I needed to be practical. But I came back the next week, and the week after, and over the course of 14 months, Reb Marchetti showed me something that no business school, no finance podcast, no self-help framework had ever come close to touching. He showed me the internal architecture beneath every external result. He showed me that wealth is not built from the outside in. It is always, without exception, built from the inside out. And at the center of everything he taught me was this single daily habit. He called it the Cheshbon HaNefesh of resources, the soul accounting of what flows in and what flows out. And I am going to show you exactly how to do it. But first, the 3 things you are doing right now that are destroying your vessel before you even have a chance to fill it. The first thing is this. You are confusing motion with direction. Think about what you did financially this past week. I want you to actually think about it. Did you move? Of course you moved. You worked. You spent. You transferred. You planned maybe. You worried, certainly. There was tremendous motion. But motion is not direction. Motion is simply energy being released. A wheel spinning in the air makes the same sound as a wheel driving forward, but only one of them is going somewhere. The ancient teachers called this the mistake of the Mira Machpelah, the double cave. A man enters a cave that has 2 chambers. He explores the first chamber with great excitement and great effort. He maps every corner. He names every stone. And he never once looks for the door to the second chamber, because he is too exhausted from his thoroughness in the first. Most people live their entire financial lives in the first chamber. They are extraordinarily busy being busy. They optimize what they already have without ever asking whether what they have is oriented correctly. They improve their running speed without ever lifting their head to check whether they are running towards something or simply in circles. The daily habit I am going to teach you lives in the second chamber, but you will never find the door if you are still mesmerized by the motion of the first. Here is how you seal this crack in your vessel. At the end of each day, not each week, not each month, each single day, you must ask yourself one question. Not how much did I earn? Not how much did I spend? Those are first chamber questions. The question is this: did what I did today bring me closer to what I have decided I am building? Or did it simply keep the wheels spinning? Write your answer. Speak it aloud. It takes 40 seconds. It will save you 40 years. 7 days of asking this question every single evening, and you will feel something shift. Not because the question is magical, because the question is honest. And honesty, as Reb Marchetti used to say, is the only material that can actually repair a crack. The second thing you are doing, and this one is subtler, which makes it more destructive, is that you are borrowing your vision of wealth from someone else's life. I want you to hear this carefully, because it sounds simple, and it is anything but. There is a story I carry from the teachings of the School of Kelm, one of the most rigorous houses of ethical refinement in the history of the tradition. A student came to the Rosh Yeshiva, a man named Reb Osher Binyamin Fuertal, and said, "I want what Eliezer has. Eliezer has peace. Eliezer has provision. Eliezer's life is ordered and fruitful. I want that." And Reb Fuertal looked at this student and said, without any warmth at all, "Then go be Eliezer." "Oh, you cannot? Then tell me, what exactly is it that you want?" The student was stunned. He had never separated the two things. He had never asked himself, do I want what Eliezer has because it is genuinely what I need, or because it is the nearest model of abundance that I can see? This is the second crack. This is the second way your vessel is leaking before you even begin to pour. Social architecture, the houses people show, the numbers people display, the narratives of success that circulate in your proximity, all of it creates a borrowed vision of what wealth is supposed to look like for you. And here is the devastating consequence. When your vessel is shaped to hold someone else's water, it will never hold yours. The shape is wrong. The capacity is wrong. The entire structure is built for a different person's purpose. I spent 3 years chasing a version of financial success that, if I had achieved it, would have made me miserable. Not because success is bad, because it was not mine. It was assembled from pieces of other people's timelines, other people's definitions, other people's meaning. Reb Marchetti told me, before you can accumulate, you must define. Before you define, you must sit in silence long enough to hear your own voice beneath all the voices you have borrowed. The action here is difficult because it asks you not to do something, but to stop doing something. Stop measuring your progress against a destination someone else chose. Spend 15 minutes, just 15, writing what abundance means specifically in your life, not in a life, your life, what it feels like, what it permits you to do, who it allows you to be. This is not a soft exercise. This is structural engineering. You are drawing the blueprint of your vessel. Without the blueprint, every tool you pick up is useless. In 30 days of practicing this clarity, people find that not only do their decisions sharpen, their tolerance for distraction collapses. Things that used to pull at their energy simply stop having gravity. That is not discipline. That is alignment. And alignment is worth 10,000 acts of discipline. Now, the third thing. I told you this one would land differently. I was not exaggerating. The third thing you are doing, and the reason I say that 91% of people who will watch this video will recognize themselves in it, is that you have made peace with the impermanence of your own intentions. Let me explain what I mean by that. You have a vision. Maybe it is clear, maybe it is blurry, but it exists. You have a desire for something more ordered, more stable, more expansive in your financial life. And periodically, after a video like this one, or after a difficult month, or after a conversation that woke something up in you, that vision becomes vivid and sharp and urgent. And then, slowly, without drama, without a single decisive moment you can point to, it fades. Not because you are weak, not because you are lazy, not because you do not deserve the thing you want, but because you never gave the vision a structure that could hold it past the feeling that created it. Reb Marchetti used to say, "A flame that lives only in feeling will die when the feeling changes. A flame that has been placed inside a lamp. That flame can survive a storm. This is the deepest crack in the vessel. This is the reason that motivation, information, inspiration, none of it accumulates into transformation. Because the vessel has never been lamped. The vision has never been given architecture. It lives in emotion, and emotion is the most volatile of all materials. The practice of the daily habit I am about to teach you is, at its core, a lamp. It is a structure so simple that it almost offends the intellect. And yet it is precisely its simplicity that gives it its power, because you will actually do it, every day, even on the days when the feeling is gone, especially on those days. Let me now tell you exactly what it is. Reb Marchetti called it the Shlosha, the 3-3, and he did not invent it. He received it from his teacher, who received it from a lineage that traced itself back through the academies of Vilna, to the economic disciplines practiced by the trading families of Sepharad in their golden era. Here is the practice in its entirety. Each morning before you touch your phone, before you read a single message, before the world pours its noise into your ears, you sit. It takes 3 minutes. You write 3 things. 1. The single most important financial action you will take today. Not the most urgent, not the most reactive, the most important. The one that, if completed, moves the needle of your real direction. Just 1. The ancient teachers were emphatic on this. 1. Because a man who has 12 priorities has no priorities. 2. The single greatest financial threat to your vessel today, not in the world, in your day. Is it a meeting where you tend to agree to things you should not? Is it a platform that makes spending frictionless and invisible? Is it a pattern of thinking that has cost you before and will cost you again if unexamined? Name it. A threat you can name is a threat you can prepare for. A threat that remains unnamed lives in your vessel like a leak you refuse to locate. 3. One specific act of financial gratitude. And I want to be precise about what this means, because people misunderstand gratitude in this context and turn it into a passive feeling. This is not a feeling. This is a recognition of existing provision. You name one specific thing, not general, specific, that is currently functioning, currently serving you, currently evidence that your vessel is not empty. My rent is covered this month. My car is functional. I have a skill that is currently generating income. Something real, something present, something you can point to. Then in the evening, 30 seconds, no more, you review the morning's 3. You ask, did I take the action? Did I encounter the threat and handle it? Or did it handle me? Did I carry the awareness of existing provision through the day? Or did I let scarcity thinking colonize my hours by afternoon? No self-judgment. This is not a court. It is an accounting, a clear-eyed register of what happened, so that tomorrow's 3 are more refined, more honest, more precise. That is the entire practice. I can hear the thought you are having right now. You are thinking, this is too simple. You expected something more elaborate, more arcane, more technical. You expected the complexity to match the magnitude of the problem. But here is what Reb Marchetti taught me about that reaction. And this is the thing I want you to carry with you long after this video ends. Complexity is the armor that resistance wears. When something is complex, you can always justify not starting yet. You need to study it more. You need to understand all the parts. You need to prepare. Complexity is procrastination wearing an intelligent face. The Shlosha is unglamorous. It has no elaborate ritual, no expensive materials, no prerequisite knowledge. It asks only one thing, that you show up to it with complete honesty, every single day, before the world tells you who to be and what to want. The families who practice this, the ones who received it and held it, do not practice it because it is sophisticated. They practice it because it works. Because within 7 days you begin to notice a calibration happening in your decisions without effort. Within 14 days, the morning 3 begin to reveal patterns in your behavior you were completely blind to before. Within 30 days, you are operating with a quality of financial awareness that most people will spend their entire lives never accessing. And within 72 days, Reb Marchetti was specific about this number, and the tradition before him was specific. The architecture of your daily life will have reorganized itself around the direction you chose, not because of willpower, because of repetition that has become structure, because the flame is inside the lamp now, because the vision has survived enough mornings to become something harder than feeling. It has become identity. I want to tell you something now that I do not say lightly. I have shared versions of this practice with people in circumstances that most would consider beyond repair. I have sat across from individuals who had not simply made poor decisions, but who had been genuinely failed by systems, by people they trusted, by circumstances entirely outside their control. People for whom the word abundance had become a kind of joke told at their expense. And I have watched the shlosha work in those lives, not because 3 questions on a page have mystical power, but because the practice does something that no external system, no financial product, no restructuring plan can do. It gives a person back the experience of being the author of their own day, one day at a time, one morning at a time, one honest, private, unglamorous accounting at a time. And that experience, the experience of authorship, is the actual foundation of all accumulation. Not capital, not opportunity, not timing, authorship. The moment a person stops experiencing their financial life as something that happens to them and begins experiencing it as something they are actively, consciously shaping, that is the moment the vessel begins to seal. That is the moment water starts to stay. Reb Marchetti lived to 93 years old. He died in a small apartment with modest belongings and a library of books so worn that the spines had been rebound 3 and 4 times. He was not a wealthy man in the way the world counts wealth, but every person who sat across that cedar desk and received what he gave, every one of them has told me the same thing, that nothing they received from any other source transformed their relationship to money, to work, to provision, the way those 14 months in that small room did. Not because of secrets, because of structure, because of a practice so simple it was easy to dismiss, and so powerful that the people who did not dismiss it never went back to the life they had before. I want to give you one final thing before I close. There is a concept in the tradition that has no clean translation into English. The word is shmirat hapetach. It means roughly the guarding of the threshold. It refers to the practice of being intentional about what you permit to enter your inner world, your attention, your anxiety, your aspiration. The banks, the platforms, the entire ecosystem of consumer finance is built on one single premise, that if they can occupy your threshold before you do, they can determine what you want and how urgently you want it. Every notification, every interface, every default setting is designed to cross your threshold before you have had the chance to guard it. The shlosha is, among other things, an act of shmirat hapetach. You do it before the phone, before the messages, before the market opens and the news cycle begins, and the day makes its 1,000 small claims on your direction. You do it first because what you do first is what you are telling the universe, and more importantly yourself, is primary. Guard the threshold. Do it before anything else guards it for you. That is the daily habit. That is the practice. That is what the tradition kept quiet, and what I am asking you to take with full seriousness. Now I want to ask you to do one thing. Write the words, "I guard the threshold," in the comments below. Not because I need to see them, because you need to write them. Because the act of writing an intention in a public space is an ancient form of commitment. And commitment is the first stone laid in every vessel that actually holds. If this reached you, if something in these words landed in a place that has been waiting for exactly this, then you already know that there is more where this came from. Subscribe to this channel, not because of algorithms, not because of numbers, but because the work we do here is consistent, it is serious, and it will meet you at the level of your real questions every single time. Reb Marchetti used to close every session the same way. He would stand, which was difficult for him in his later years, and he would place one hand briefly on the desk that had held the weight of so many conversations, and he would say, "Go now. The vessel is not yet full, but it is no longer broken. That is enough for today. Go now. The vessel is not yet full, but it is no longer broken. That is enough for today. Shalom."